Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. I'm gonna get everything pulled up. I have my wine all ready to go for Thirsty Thursday, and I'm super freaking excited for this one. So, I'm gonna get this pulled up, make sure I can see comments and all that good stuff. If you are here, say hi. Please let me know that you're here. Give me feedback, y'all. I love getting feedback. So we'll give it just a minute to let some people hop on here. If you are new to this group, we have a lot of new people joining lately, and I'm so excited. If you're new, please know I love it when you talk to me. I love to not stare at myself on the screen and talk to myself. So comment, say hi, let me know you're here. Give me, feedback along the way. Victoria, hi, I'm so glad to see you. Awesome. Okay, so let's get this shared into the event page real quick, and then we will dive the heck in. The event is Thirsty Thursday. How to get strangers on the internet to start trusting you. Guys, I'm so freaking excited about this one. It's going to be good. So, it is now in there, and cool. Okay, let's get started. So, this is a huge topic with especially new online business owners, right? Like when you're first starting a business online, especially if you've already come from a regular traditional in-person business, then this is like a huge hurdle that most, business owners have to get past, right? I kind of have always done everything online, even though I worked with clients locally before, like while I was still in my 9-to-5 when I did it on the side, it was still mostly like virtual communication, right? So I've always kind of had that mindset anyway, and being a huge introvert has actually helped me a lot be much better at online business. So I want to talk about like what the differences are between online businesses versus regular brick and mortar, whatever you want to call them, even if you don't have a storefront, just in-person businesses where you rely more on like local referrals and, local networking events and stuff like that. And just really what the differences are and what to focus on online to get good results. So get a sip of my wine and we'll get started. So, I want you guys to imagine for a second that you are at an in-person networking event. And let's say, have you guys been to in-person networking events? Like those of you that are here, and when you're watching the replay too, always, you can always interact and engage with me watching replays. Just make sure and tag me so I see it. But, let me know if you've been to in-person networking events. And like I said, I'm a huge introvert, so for me, they're super awkward anyway. But can you imagine being in a room full of hundreds of people and walking in and standing up on the table and announcing to the entire room, hey, are you struggling with this problem? I have this really cool offer that would so help you, and here's why it's beneficial, and you should totally sign up for it right now. Can you imagine any human in their right mind doing that at an event? Even if you haven't been to one, can you imagine that happening? Most likely you'd be like, what the frick is wrong with that person? Why are they doing that? Everyone's going to think you're a freaking lunatic, right? Because no one is going to buy anything from you when they have no idea who you are and they have no relationship with you and they don't know if they can trust you, right? That's common sense. But somewhere that usually gets lost in translation between real life and the internet, because most of the time, that's what people do in online marketing. We go into Facebook groups with, 100 people, 1,000 people. I'm in some with, 20, 50,000 people. And that's what's happening. People go in there, brand new to these groups, and there's no, I don't want to, talk too much shit on this because this is, I did this too. I used to do this too, right? You go into these groups and you're like, I have this really cool, amazing thing. I'm really passionate about my thing. I'm really good at this thing, and I want to share it with as many people as possible. And that's the only way we know how to do it, right? But when you think about it in real world, real life terms like that, it makes absolutely no sense. No one is going to know who we are and trust that we're a real person of value when we run our businesses that way online. So we really just need to remember that and make that conscious connection in our brains that we run our businesses exactly the same online as we do offline. If relationships and human connection is something that's really important offline, why do we just drop the ball when we move online, right? Is this making sense to people? I see there are now 4 viewers, and I have only seen comments from Victoria. So thank you, Victoria, but where y'all at? Give me some feedback. Is this making sense? So what I want to talk about, like, moving forward is what to do instead. Because like I said, I'm not, like, talking too much shit. I did that. I've done that so many times, like, going into other people's groups and posting stuff. But it's not effective. And here's why it's not effective. Well, we already know why it's not, because you're not acting like a real human, right? So here's how to get the most out of online marketing instead. Obviously, this all has to do with branding because, hello, I'm Brooke. I'm a brand strategist, in case you didn't know that about me yet. It all has to do with branding, of course, but what that means is we're really focusing on building those relationships in the online world. And that does look a little bit different. You can't just march up to people and be like, hey, I'm Brooke, but I do this, blah, blah, blah. Because it is a little more awkward online than when you're at an in-person networking event, right? Crystal, hello. I'm so glad you're here, Crystal. So building those relationships online are how we achieve that. So the ways that you can do that are to, obviously be an actual human. First of all, act like a normal human. Don't do things that you wouldn't do in person, and provide things of actual value. So think about, like, people who you have good relationships with in real life, first of all, and, like, not even business related. Like, think about your friends, like your best friends and people that you've been friends with for a long time. How did those relationships start, right? And how can you translate all of that into the online world? Hey, Amber, brand twins, yeah. Feeding the baby, feeding pizza to a baby. Oh, that might even be harder than giving the baby a bath while trying to watch a video. I don't know. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you, Sarah. So I want you to think, though, think through your strongest relationships that you had. Like I said, business related or not business related. Amy, I'm so glad to see you, Amy. Amy's going to be on Spotlight Sunday soon, guys, so be prepared for that. And I'm going to talk about Spotlight Sunday again at the end, too, so don't let me forget. But anyway, okay, so think about your strongest relationships and really how they got started. And, like, for me, like I said, introvert here, I'm all about quality over quantity. I don't have a lot of close friends, especially in real life. I'd say my friend ratio, about 80% of my friends are on the internet. I have about 20% real life friends, but I'm totally okay with that. But think about how they got started, right? Like, you introduce yourself to someone, you realize that, wow, we have a lot in common. I would get along with this person, I like this person, and then you're interested in learning more about them. Then you want to know, like, what they do and all of the amazing things that they care about and that they're super passionate about, and you get really interested in hearing things from them, right? And then you can, offer things to them, and they're way more likely to buy them. Again, that goes back to the business example, not the friend example. So using the friend example, like, if you just met someone at, Starbucks and you decide to go out for coffee, they're not going to be the person that you call at 8 o'clock at night when you're in a fight with your husband and you want to sit on the phone and cry and drink wine, right? Because that relationship is not there yet. So you want to, translating that into business again. I always say it's the premature marriage proposal is what I say in my programs. Like, when you're offering way too much, way too soon. And that's exactly what happens most of the time on, in Facebook groups, like I was talking about, and in online business in general. So that's what we want to avoid. We want to keep in mind those real human connections and how we can translate that in there. So, no prematurely proposing marriage, no jumping up on the table at the event, no, posting in these huge, huge groups when you've made no effort at all to connect with the other people in there. So how I like to approach social media and online marketing in general is really not focusing at all on sales online. That's not what social media is for. Social media is for being social and creating relationships and building relationships with people, right? So like, just to give you like an overview of what my online business strategy is. I don't try to be everywhere all at once because that's not possible. I'm active in a few Facebook groups. I'm active in my Facebook group, and I've recently added Instagram to my strategy, and I'm starting to focus on there more. That's where I am online. And my goal on these platforms is not to go in and say, hey, buy my shit. Hey, buy this. Hey, buy this. Hey, I have this cool offer. Even though I have all these cool things and I'm capable of helping people, you really get the best results when you go into these platforms and really focus on building those relationships and finding your people, finding the people that really connect with you. And once you do that, then you can invite them into your world. Then you can be like, hey, I have a really cool Facebook group over here. Hey, you should join my email list because I have this really cool free thing. And then it's so much easier to sell things to people once they're in your world because they've chosen to be there. They want to be there. They know you're a person of value, and they're so much more willing to listen to you once you're there, right? Or once they're there. So that's always my goal, is build that relationship, make sure they're the right person, and then invite them back to come hang out with me. And then if I have something that I think will help them, awesome. They're on my email list and they can see all of that stuff. And even there though, like even in this Facebook group, I rarely pitch things in this Facebook group even. An occasional Thirsty Thursday will have something on there, an occasional post, but I really focus on providing value on social media. And then if you're on my email list, that's where you get all the really juicy stuff of, if you want to work with me, or just, reaching out for a call. But providing that value is really that foundational step. Like, again, going back to the friend analogy, like if you have a friend who is constantly asking you to do things for them, but then when you call them up and, need something from them, they don't ever follow through, or they never answer their phone, or they're not providing you any value at all, you don't want to be in a relationship like that, right? So I want to be the person who is always there for my friends. And I want to be the person, the business owner, that is showing up consistently, helping people get where they need to be and where they want to be. I want to be the person to help them get there. So then when they are ready to invest in, brand strategy or design or whatever it is, I'm going to be top of their mind because I know, like, they already know that I am super helpful and I'm super valuable and I truly want to see them succeed. So online business is definitely much more of a long game thing, right? It's really about focusing on those relationships. And if you go into it expecting anything other than that, people get really disappointed usually. Like a lot of especially new business owner, go into these Facebook groups with these really high expectations that I'm just going to offer this and I'm going to sell a whole bunch of stuff and it's going to be the most amazing thing ever. And then you get crickets on all your Facebook posts because no one knows who you are. So go in and engage. Go in and talk to people and try to get to know people. Comment on other people's stuff. Post things that are valuable that aren't selling anything. Sure, sometimes. That doesn't mean you can, again, this doesn't mean you can never post anything salesy, but it means you have to show up consistently and have that relationship for it to be effective. So post things yourself that are valuable, but also go in and just talk to people. That's honestly what I do in other people's groups the most. Like, I don't post that much in other people's groups, but I go in and look at what other people post and feedback, just encouragement. Like, dude, this is awesome. I love what you're saying here. Or, answering questions about whatever your topic is. It is so much more valuable than just constantly going in and posting and bombarding people with things all the time. I promise it's so much more valuable to them. It's less exhausting for you, and it makes you seem like so much more of an expert in what you're doing, right? Okay. I saw lots of comments come in and I was so excited, but I was trying to not get distracted. So we're going to go back through real quick. Like jab, 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 right hook. Kind of like that. Yeah, Debbie. Okay, cool. Yeah, and it doesn't feel skeezy. Yes, Amy, it doesn't feel skeezy either because when you're really going in with that expectation of just, I want to make sure we're a good fit, because we don't want to work with people who we're not a good fit with anyway, right? Like, we want to go in and make sure, we're a good fit. I've said the word fit. I can't think of another word right now, but you get what I mean. It's super important, and it doesn't feel slimy and gross when you go at it that way. So what about a YouTube channel? Should I not be posting my episode info? Is that too pushy? So it depends on what you're talking about, Debbie. Like, are you talking about going on Facebook and sharing your YouTube video, if that's pushy? And all of this stuff is like so super subjective too. And it's not even necessarily that I would say it's bad to be pushy. Obviously, pushy is a bad word and nobody really wants that. I don't want to be seen as pushy either. But there's a difference between like making an offer from a place of service and spamming the shit out of people with an offer. There's a difference between that. So if you create YouTube videos and they're the most valuable things in the world and you're like giving so much awesome content, and then at the end of it, you're like, hey, I have this cool thing. Dude, that's awesome. Like, that's totally awesome. It's still going to be more effective if they are coming to you to view it than if you're going to pitch it somewhere else. But that doesn't make it bad. Like, I do occasionally pitch things in other people's groups, but it's only in the ones that I've already built the relationships in. So if you have like awesome, valuable content in YouTube videos and you share them other places, I think that's awesome. I don't think that is pushy. Now, if you have like, shitty videos, which I'm sure that you don't, Debbie, but like videos that are full of like fluffy BS content and you're like spamming them in 50 different groups, that's annoying. Of course, I don't think anybody in this community does stuff like that, or you probably wouldn't be drawn to me in the first place, but that's kind of the stuff that I'm talking about. And I'm sure that you guys have seen that stuff too. So usually people that are attracted to the way that I teach things are a little bit similar to me. And like what I did, I never really did the spam method. I did the I'm just not going to post anything method. Like I was so worried about being slimy and salesy and sleazy that I just didn't post anything at all. And then of course, nobody knows who I am. You still have to be visible and you still have to show up to get people to know who you are. But I just, I was so scared of it that I just didn't do anything. So it's definitely finding that balance, but really focusing on building those relationships first. Then you don't even really have to think about it because you'll know when and where is a good time when you already have the relationship with the community that you're talking to. You love that analogy, be that friend. Yes, right, Crystal. And the long game, yes, the long game. I actually I had a call with a client today and I was talking about that on the call. Like, it honestly kind of pisses me off that, especially on Instagram right now, it's this cool thing where it's like, let everything be easy and in flow and in alignment and like all this woo-woo stuff, which you guys know that I'm not opposed to that, but that's not how my brain naturally works. Like, I'm not a very woo-woo person. I'm more of a strategic, analytical person with the creative side, but it's not, it kind of pisses me off that message is being, flooded into our social media feeds because, yes, it can be easy, but you have to put in the work to get to that point. Like, right now, my client attraction process is pretty dang easy. I don't have to do a whole lot. I have my awesome quiz. People find me through my quiz. They come in. It automatically flows you into my Facebook group if you feel like that's a good fit for you. You're on my email list, it's pretty dang easy. But I'll tell you right now, it didn't start out that way. Like, it didn't start out that way at all. And I also spend money to do that. And if you don't have any money when you're starting out, you can't do that, right? So the way that you have to think about these things when you're just starting out, before it gets to be easy, you still have to put in the work and you still have to understand your ideal clients like the back of your hand. And you have to be willing to build those relationships with people because once they're in your funnel and once you're in my Facebook group or once you're on my email list, that doesn't mean that I'm done with you, right? Like, I still continue to provide value and I still continue to, be that friend and be that person. Otherwise, why would you buy anything from me, right? Because that's just ruining my reputation. I can't do good over here and then fall off the wagon over here. That's silly. So, yes, it can be easy, but that's why you need to set it up right in the first place. Know your goals and know where you want to be. And this is kind of a little off topic of getting people to trust you, but it's kind of not too because it's branding, right? You have to know your goals and you have to know where you're going in order to set up a plan to get there successfully, right? I knew that I didn't want to have to do client attraction stuff all the time. It's never been my goal to go into a Facebook groups 20 times a day to post things and respond to things. I wanted to set up that process in a way that was easy for me. So I put in the work at the beginning, and I did that. I got to know my ideal clients. I wrote a kick-ass nurture sequence. I built an amazing quiz, and I guide my clients through a journey to where they can get the most benefit and the most value from me. And it took a hell of a lot of work at first. So yes, it does get to be easy, but you have to put in the work to get to that point. And it kind of pisses me off that people don't talk about that part enough. So that doesn't mean it can't be fun too. I'll throw that in though. I don't regret a single second of it. I had so much fun like building my website and my quiz and that nurture sequence, all that stuff. But anyway, side note, tangent over, rant over. Amber says, I need to get my juice. It's been a day. Glad to have Thirsty Thursday. Yes. Amber, P.S. I did see your Facebook message, and I really would love to go to that event. I'm going to actually talk about it tonight with my hubby when he gets home. Hopefully I can come to that event. For everyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, there's an awesome event in Richmond, Virginia in April that I really want to go to. It's what's it called? Rebel? Is it RebelCon or RebelCon? I don't know. It looks totally awesome. I think I'm probably going to go. Debbie, that's a good point. I'm new, so it may be shitty. And it's really just about like going in and building those relationships first. Again, I love the analogy that I used at the beginning. Like, you wouldn't walk into a room and stand up on a table and announce that you have an amazing thing to sell in a room full of people that you don't know, right? So just really going in with the expectation of building relationships versus the expectation of selling something or adding more people to my list or whatever it is. Really go into the social media with the expectation of building relationships, finding the right people, and then if they're right, then inviting them into, into the sale or into the group or into the thing, whatever it is. Yeah, okay. Not how I roll either, which is why we're twins. Yes, exactly, Amber. And yes, you found me through my quiz. I think most people in the group found me through the quiz because that's the only freebie I have. That's the only thing I run because that is a really good, accurate representation of who I am. And I don't have to be constantly creating new freebies and constantly doing new things because I took that time and did that work to set it up the right way in the first place and made sure that I was talking to the right person and sharing the right message. So it's super, super important to do that work. And again, when I did all that stuff, I had all of these exact same things in mind. When you're writing the copy for your website or you're writing the copy that goes in the emails that they get after they download your freebie, or when you're downloading your freebie, like, you have to know who you're talking to and you have to know how to connect with them and how to show them that you're an actual human. And that gets lost a lot, especially if you're coming from corporate. Like, I spent 5 years sitting in a cube, and it kind of like is a whole entire mindset shift of, coming from having to talk a certain way and say things how other people want you to say them to transitioning into sounding like an actual human and not a robot, and then sounding like the real you on the internet. It's harder to do, but that's what builds those really strong brands, is putting in that work, figuring out how to do that so that you can then, send the right message and talk to the right people and then get them to buy the right thing for them, right? Cool. I love how I ask questions like I'm expecting somebody to respond back to me, and then I'm like, oh wait, I'm talking to myself on screen. So that's what that is. Okay. Crystal says, I've had people disappear. When they show up, I feel like I don't know who they are. Yes. Yeah. And that's that consistency piece too. And I talked about it a little bit, you don't want to fall off the wagon after you bring them into your world, right? It would be a waste of time for me to create a badass quiz and an awesome nurture sequence. And then as soon as they get through their, 5 emails, I just fall off the face of the earth and they don't hear from me, for 6 more months. And then I pop in their inbox and they're like, who the hell is this person? I don't even remember this quiz, right? So that consistency piece is really important too. And again, that just, all that clarity and all of that, well, what do I say in the emails? How do I know what to do? How do I know what to say? How do I know what value to give? That really just comes from that work of getting to know who your audience is. Building those relationships will answer 90% of those questions. Understanding your ideal client. is like the thing. And it's so, like, I remember how annoyed I got when, like, every coach online was like, I do client research. Like, I'm freaking sick of hearing that. But really, you can never, ever, ever in the entire world, you can never do too much ideal client research. I still do research all the time. Feedback is my favorite thing. You can ask anyone in any of my programs. Crystal's in one of my programs. Victoria, you did that challenge with me. You guys know, like, feedback is my favorite thing ever. Like, there is no such thing as bad feedback, in my opinion, and there's no such thing as too much feedback. You can never know your people too well. I want to know every single thing that's going through their head at every second of the day. If that was possible, I would just eat that shit up. So, surveys, quizzes, literally just answering questions in Facebook groups helps so much with this stuff. Yes, so much work, Amber. Yes, RebelCon. That's the one I'm talking about. It's going to be awesome. Okay. I'm good at making friends. I can do that. Thanks for the great tip. Yes, Debbie. And it's so much easier when you go into it with that mindset instead of, oh my gosh, how am I going to sell these strangers stuff? Don't try to do that. How can I make friends with these people? Do I even want to make friends with these people? Maybe you go into a group and they're all like super bitchy and whiny and they just want to like talk about how hard everything is, and that's just not the kind of stuff you want to be around. I've been in those groups and I left them immediately. So you guys get to decide too. Like, you get to make the decision where you put in this effort. Yes, it takes work. Yes, it takes energy. Yes, it takes time. Definitely can take money. But you get to decide where you focus those resources and make sure you're doing it in the right place. And again, comes from knowing your ideal client. You have to know who they are to know where they hang out, right? I did the first time I realized I was a sage. Yeah, that's my, like, I'd say the second one. The first one's a creator, then sage, then maverick, in that order. So I'm very analytical and practical and logical. I like to think through everything in advance. But yeah, I'm very sagey, but that also is what kept me stuck for 5 years in a cube because I wanted to plan out my entire business in spreadsheets and have everything perfect before I launched it. And then I just, spent 5 years in a cube being miserable, and then I just did it and figured it out. So, that's another tangent. I love my quiz. I created it like 2.5 years ago, I think, and it's still my favorite thing ever. I freaking love that quiz. It's so much fun. And it's so true. It's so accurate. That's why I like it so much. Chris is why you're here too, Crystal. Yeah. You found me through a friend, didn't even know about the quiz until your challenge. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Facebook group is the only other way that I ever get anyone new into my world. So I have my quiz, it leads to the Facebook group. And then if anyone else finds me on Facebook and they find my group, that's the only other way I have into my world. Other than like good old SEO, sometimes people find the quiz just through a Google search. But yeah, that's how you found me too, Sarah. Cool. Yes, clarity. That's like my favorite word. If there's a word that should be in the definition of branding, it's clarity, because that's really the goal. You can't really make any of your other decisions or do any marketing effectively or build any relationships until you're really clear on who you are and what you do and why you do it and how you're going to change your clients' lives and blow their freaking pants off with value. Hi! Hello. So true. Okay, I love that. So true. Preach it. Yeah. I love the little preachy hands emoji. That's one of my favorite ones. I'm a nerd because I love researching and agree the feedback is like gold. Yes. Sage twins. Maybe we need another emoji or another hashtag. I literally had to tell someone to stop feeling bad about giving me too much feedback last week. Yeah, there's no such thing as too much feedback, for sure. Yes, energy drain groups. Ugh. Horrible. Your performer, that's a fun one too. I love the performer one. I feel like that one is so undervalued. Like, a lot of times I'll get, feedback from my quiz. They're like, I got the performer and I'm kind of scared. Like, I'm not funny. Like, no, that's not what it's about. I love the performer. You can do so many cool things with that performer archetype. It's freaking awesome. You love spreadsheets, Sarah. Yeah, can relate to the sage, can be a barrier to progress. Absolutely. But really, that's like the first step to overcoming that though, right? Like, just recognizing that and realizing when that comes up. Like, I still do it. I still have spreadsheets for everything. And I'll easily get sucked into like, oh, am I just building this spreadsheet of, all my followers on every platform because I really need this information or because I'm procrastinating from doing something else I really should be doing? That's usually what it is. But just recognizing that and knowing that you have the tendency to go there really helps you pull yourself back when you need to, right? And people tell me clarity is overused. No, it's not. I think people don't really understand how valuable clarity is, Amber. Like, people are like, oh yeah, I'm clear on my message. I know I'm, providing brand strategy, and I know I'm helping people pick their logos and colors, and like, that's not being clear. Like, that's not clarity. Yeah. Okay, I found the quiz on Pinterest, I subscribed to your website, and found the Facebook group through an email I received today. Yes, that's my funnel, like, going through it. I love it, and that's exactly the goal. Like, lead people through a journey and let them filter themselves out if I'm not a good fit for them. So it is always my goal, obviously, to get people to trust me. First of all, is to show them my full personality. Obviously, the personality piece for me is huge because that's the main thing that I teach, right? But once I'm clear on what my message is that I'm trying to say and who I'm talking to, who I'm giving my message to, then I just set up the rest of the process to let people go through at their own pace and, kind of, like I said, kind of self-filter and figure out where they need to be. You take my quiz. If you don't like the quiz, if you don't like that I say the word shit in an email, if you don't like anything, you unsubscribe right there. And no harm, no foul, right? It doesn't offend me at all. But if you're like, oh my God, I love this, then your next step, you're like, oh, I'm going to go hang out in the Facebook group. And then you come watch Thirsty Thursday videos and get to know me even better. And then the funnel just goes on and on and on, intensives and group programs and one-on-one and blah, 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 whatever else you're offering. But you're letting the people go where they're interested in going instead of going into other people's groups and be like, hey, come over here, come do this, come do this. By the time you guys get in this group, I know that you're here because you already know who I am and you already have taken the quiz and you already know that it's valuable and that I have good things to say, right? That's my goal. That's always my goal. I only want people here who truly see the value and want to be here. So that's why I've set it up that way. Awesome. And missed what you're drinking today. I have wine today for Thirsty Thursday. We're out of beer. Oh, we're out of good beer. We only have Bud Light. It's disgusting. I hate it. So I got wine. But yeah, so that's my getting people to trust you on the internet spiel. If anybody has any questions, now is the time. And while I'm waiting for questions to come in, I want to talk about Spotlight Sunday. That is totally free, and everybody here should take freaking advantage of it. Like, if you're, a couple of you guys are pretty new, I think. So if you haven't seen one yet, go check it out in the archives. What it is you get to come on live with me and share your thing with the whole group for free. And every single one of you in the group can do it. There's no reason not to. So I really created this group as a place where other people can come and share their message, especially if you're new. So I created it because when I was new, I had nowhere to go. I was going into other people's groups doing all the shit I just talked about doing that wasn't effective, right? So I wanted to give especially new entrepreneurs, but any business owner, an opportunity to come and really share your message. And if you're new and you're terrified of being on video or you don't know how to, do all this stuff, it's a great place to come so that you can come on here, share what you're doing, share like why you're so passionate about your thing and all the amazing ways you can help your clients with my whole group for free, right? So there is a link to sign up for that. Like I said, if you want, I really, really just want people to come on there and share their message and just show up, be visible, and start building that awareness around your brand and start building those relationships like we talked about. There are like 430-ish people in here that you can start building relationships with, right? Get in front of people and share your message, and it's so much fun. Like, it's not just like you hop on and give a lesson like I'm doing right now. We get on there together and we talk about your thing, and it's so much freaking fun. So I hope you will all sign up for it. I think there's only Amber and Tammy have done it. Everybody else, sign your booties up for Spotlight Sunday. And if Amber and Tammy, if you want to do it again, that's totally fine too. Amber, I know you've shifted a little bit, so maybe you should do yours again. I think you talked about bios last time. You got all the things to talk about if you want to come on again. I want to be in your world. Thanks, Amber. The archives is a wealth of info. Yeah, too. So if you are new to this group, if you go over to the files tab, every single Thirsty Thursday video and every single Spotlight Sunday video, here's my sage side coming out, my ridiculously organized OCD brain. If you go in the files tab, there's a file for each one, and you can easily find all of the past Spotlight Sunday and Thirsty Thursday training videos quickly and easily, so you can watch them and binge watch them and then go tell all your friends how awesome they are and refer them back here. Right? Cool. Okay, well, if anybody comes up with any questions later, or if you want to, or if anybody watching the replay has any questions, always put them in. Debbie, as soon as we hop off of here, I will post the link to the form. All you have to do is just fill out this little form that says, hey, I want to do it, and then I'll email you back. So the link is also in the files tab, but I'll post it in the comments here too. So it's super easy to find because I want you all to sign up for it. So I hope to see you guys soon, and let me know if you have any questions. Adios!